Okay, this is getting worse. Just how many videos are out there where the Obama administration's Obamacare architect calls you stupid? Well, last night we had one video, and he had passed that off as a mere off-the-cuff response. Oops. In the last 24 hours, we got 2 more videos for a total now of 3 where he says the American people are stupid. Now, that's not off the cuff. That's a deep-seated view, and he's the one who designed Obamacare. Take a look at what Gruber said in the latest video just 2 years ago at the University of Rhode Island. You're not going to like it.
John Kerry said, no, we're going to tax your health insurance. We're going to tax those evil insurance companies. We're going to impose a tax that if they sell health insurance that's too expensive, we're going to tax them. And conveniently, the tax rate will happen to be the marginal tax rate under the income tax code. So basically, it's the same thing. We just tax the insurance companies. They pass it on higher prices. That offsets the tax break we get. It ends up being the same thing. It's a very clever, basic exploitation of the lack of economic understanding of the American voter.
And joining us, Senator and Dr. John Barrasso. Nice to see you, sir.
Thanks
Welcome back to Washington. I should also add that this man, Jonathan Gruber, is also apparently the architect of Romney Care, Massachusetts. But nonetheless, calling the American people stupid, is that just a rogue employee, or do you think that's the thought of the Obama administration, maybe the president himself?
It's clearly offensive, and I think it just confirms Americans' worst fears about the government. So we see this a slap in the face and an insult to the American people. And this is repetitive behavior. He was paid almost $400,000 by this administration, and what he tried to do was deflect the attention of the American people, and I believe intentionally try to deceive the American people to try to get this health care law passed, which has turned out to be bad for patients and bad for the doctors and nurses taking care of them, and terrible for American taxpayers.
Well, his effort yesterday on MSNBC to sort of say, well, this is sort of an off-the-cuff statement to suggest that maybe this was just something stupid or inappropriate that he might have said occasionally. But when we find these other videos, it appears to me that this is far deeper seated, and as he just got caught. And who knows how many other videos there are.
Well, and those 3 aren't the same day. I mean, those are spread out over a couple of years. So this is his deep-seated belief about how to deal with the American people, about trying to make sure there isn't the transparency that the American people expected. The person that told the truth was Nancy Pelosi. Said first you have to pass it before you get to find out what's in it. They didn't want the American people to find out what was in it.
Well, he also says lack of transparency is a huge political advantage, which is particularly damning for President Obama, who said he's going to have the most transparent administration, whereas now he's got the architect bragging about it. That doesn't look good.
No, none of it looks good. And the big problem is that this law has caused so much problem for the American people, people that are maybe even have the insurance that the president has promised them, but he focused on the word coverage instead of the word care. So people are facing higher premiums, higher copays, higher deductibles, can't keep their doctors, can't go to their hospitals. Those are the problems, and that's the pain that the American people are suffering as a part of this deception.
All right, 2 things. One is Senator Tom Coburn says that they're not the votes to repeal it. So do you expect this to be repealed, Obamacare?
We'll vote to try to do that.
Do you expect that?
I expect that we're going to strip out the most damaging parts of the health care law, focus on things that have already passed the House with bipartisan support, the employer mandate, get rid of that, focus and try to eliminate the individual mandate, even use reconciliation, which just takes 51 votes to do that. We're going to do everything we can to strip all of the damaging parts away from this law.
What about this man? We paid him $400,000 to insult us, essentially, to make. I mean, that was how much he got paid, and he calls us stupid, and they use transparency against it, which is, of course, the antithesis of democracy is when it's not transparent. Do we just sort of slap him around the media, or will there be hearings? Is there anything that can be done? I don't know that I can't think of anything can be done.
Well, if that's the way he feels about the American public, he ought to just give the money back. He took over almost $400,000 from American taxpayers. I think he owes that back to the government. Sure, you can have hearings, but what the hearings ought to focus on, more so than what he said, is the damage that the health care law has done to people who can't meet their deductibles, who can't see their doctors, who can't get care, which is what they wanted all along. They wanted access to affordable care, quality care, and they wanted choice. They've lost all of that under the president's health care law.
Senator, thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.